Hello and welcome to another edition of Foreign Dispatches, the program that takes you around the world in 25 minutes. I'm Layo Olarinde. On the program this week, the wildfires in California rages on as residents take stock of the damage and the devastation. Now, despite the stress from the wildfires, the humanitarian spirit is alive, with thousands of people donating their time and resources to help. Plus, a beautiful display of culture and tradition here in Africa. Victims of the California wildfires are returning to the place they once called home, only to find debris and ashes where their houses once stood. Families returning are hopeful of getting back on their feet and rebuilding their city.
Stadium chairs. Hey, Mama, what's this? Did the fire actually make this?
The Foster family returned to their dream home in the Pacific Palisades to find their idyllic Los Angeles retreat reduced to ash and rubble.
I'm in your room right now. No? I'm not?
Combing through the rubble with her husband, Eric, and their three kids, Sam, Ada, and Wyatt, Kelly Foster, the 44-year-old psychiatric, says she can't describe what it's like.
I can't describe it. What was it like? I really have no words for what I don't have any words for what it's like.
Looking for a safe and quiet place to raise their growing family, the Fosters bought their Palisades home in 2011. They had experienced evacuation orders before, but said they always felt certain that their home was safe from wildfires. All of that changed on Tuesday, January 7th, when the Palisades fire broke out.
You're finding your rake?
The Foster's 16-year-old daughter, Ada, was home alone when the evacuation order was issued. Her mother rushed home with their youngest 11-year-old Sam, grabbing most of their treasured possessions, and fled to their grandmother's house in Santa Monica.
We go to Santa Monica, the winds are high. I'm starting to get really terrified there. Also thinking, is this all going to spread? We're watching these plumes of smoke in the sky, and yeah, we were glued to the TV. We were glued to the TV for hours, and I'm a psychiatrist, so I'm sitting there and I'm both thinking, this is not healthy, this is not good, we shouldn't be just watching this. Like, this isn't helpful. At the same time, it felt dangerous to not watch. It felt like this is where we're getting our information. We have to watch how it's progressing. Stayed up till about 3 or 4 in the morning. Forced ourselves to go to sleep, Yeah, it's been a tough time.
The destruction of the family home and the entire neighborhood has not been easy for the family.
It's just all the memories here. So walking in, it was extremely hard. I walked around the side, tried to just get in a little bit more, and I just became sick. I just couldn't even, it's hard.
In spite of the devastation around them, the family plans to rebuild their home and say they are hopeful that the Palisades will make a comeback. In the meantime, the aftermath of the Palisades fire has left Pacific Palisades residents facing stark reality of their lives upended. Among those affected are Maria Demina and Matt Littenberg, whose home was destroyed in the blaze.
I'm from Russia, St. Petersburg, or Leningrad. It was under siege. My family is from there. It feels like, remnants of the Second World War, and Russians will always rise again, so we'll rise again. And everybody else will rise again. It will take time, but...
Surveying the damage, the couple reflected on their loss, describing the destruction in detail.
This was garage, but above it was our family room, which is how the china fell through. And then in the back is kitchen, and in the kitchen, the whole refrigerator just melted down like into a tiny little thing. But our bread box survived, which is weird. But it's not that I'm unemotional. It feels like it's a movie set.
Despite the devastation, Demina and Leitenberg visited their property to express gratitude for the life they had built. Placing red roses on the debris, Demeanor likened the visit to a funeral.
To see this, we actually came to say thank you to our house for being good to us, and we were good to it. So, kind of end of a life story here, and then another life will begin. Actually, I brought flowers with me because I do feel it's like a funeral. I don't know.
Did you lose your home? Well, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Stuff happens, right? But I got my health.
Right.
You know what I mean? Health is wealth. It's what you prioritize, right?
Yeah, so...
For some, like Alita Johnson, a lifelong resident of West Altadena who grew up playing on the streets that are now filled with charred debris and ash, she had no home to return to.
But nothing prepares you for this amount of destruction. I mean, there's no manual, there's no book. That night when we left, it was so frightening. You could barely see I could barely see my hand in front of me because the visibility was so bad and the winds were whipping just ferociously.
Johnson says she was initially optimistic when she left her family's home that has been passed down through generations, that the fire department would manage to stave off the fire from reaching the large amounts of homes it eventually burned. But that mood changed.
All of the cacti survived.
Johnson feels the city or county could have been better prepared for the fires burning across the region.
The Pasadena fire chief needs to be fired. The captain, whatever his title is, the guy that was standing in front of the microphone and giving us excuses and talking about how squirrely the winds were, all of that was, in my humble opinion, was tomfoolery and BS, kind of crap, because we all know how weird and squirrely the winds are. This wasn't our first time at it, right? Mm-hmm. Again, I'm going back to the question of how come there wasn't enough ground personnel? You know you're going to have a wind event. You're going to attach a fire advisory to it. The probability of you being able to fly the planes that is needed to combat a fire is probably 0. So when you remove the air component, what do you have left? You need a ground game.
She and her boyfriend walked across her neighborhood, greeting and hugging neighbors, sharing stories of a frightening night they endured as a community. And as residents across Altadena and Pasadena continue to assess the damage and begin efforts to rebuild, some others are thankful their homes are still standing. The Pacific Palisades house that 65-year-old local resident John Carr lives in was passed down to him by his parents. And it's just one of a handful of properties that's still standing after the Palisades wildfire ripped through the neighborhood, leaving the community virtually unrecognizable.
The house was built by my mother and father in 1960, and I lived here my whole life, so there's a lot of memories here. And I think I owed it to them as well to try my best to save it.
The 65-year-old says he's never witnessed anything like the blaze that ravaged his neighborhood. Armed with his organizational skills, his history of being a pilot, and past experiences, Carr decided to ignore evacuation, hunker down, and fight the fire with water as he doused his home in an attempt to save the lasting memories of his parents.
You know, but some things in life are worth fighting for, you know? I mean, if I were to lose this house, it would be very difficult to afford to be able to build a new house, to pay the enormous property taxes they have here. What would I do?
As the fire began to encroach on his backyard, he says he sprang into action, jumping fences to tackle spot fires from all directions, using his hose not only on the flames, but also himself.
Yes, I was awake all night, all day. Got a little bit of sleep after things calmed down a little bit, after all the houses burned down. I did probably hurt a rib jumping the fence over there, but I'll have to see a doctor when I get back.
He only wishes the Los Angeles Fire Department put in the same effort as he did.
If they had some fire trucks and just put a squirt here, a squirt there, and kept an eye on things, all these houses would be here now. I'm telling you right now, I saw it with my own eyeballs. All these houses, the houses behind me, they're all gone. They started with one little spark, one little small fire. They just squirted those out, had a few people out there. They'd all be here now.
After saving his house, does he think he was brave or reckless?
I'll leave that to other people to decide. I did what I needed to do. I did what I wanted to do. I did what I thought I could do, and that's what I did.
Over 24 people have died in the fires and 23 others are missing, while more than 90,000 are still under evacuation others. The humanitarian spirit is up and alive as donations keep pouring in for survivors and victims who have lost everything. A huge donation center at the Santa Anita Park racetrack in Arcadia, that's a city close to the Eaton fire, one of the biggest fires ravaging California. Thousands of people looking to offer a helping hand to those impacted by the Los Angeles wildfires showed up at a huge donation center at the Santa Anita Park racetrack in Arcadia, a city close to the Eaton fire. Volunteers waited in long lines for a chance to help with sorting through mountains of donations that included clothing, water, diapers, tinned and dry food. This is Jennifer Denhartog, a 48-year-old school teacher from Long Beach.
I just needed to come out and do something to help people. Sorry, I feel so bad for the people. So just wanted to come help somebody. That's all I can do. I can't give a bunch of money, but I can come and give my time.
The Santa Anita effort began when a street vendor announced on TikTok that he wanted to serve hot dogs to firefighters. People who had been inundated with images of destruction jumped at a chance to do something positive and flooded the donation center. 6-year-old Oliver Lee came to volunteer with his dad and was helping by handing out bottles of water.
The worst part about the fire was my dad's school is getting burned down. Kids cannot go to school. Kids and grown-ups are homeless. They don't have anywhere to live.
You know, he's been watching this on the TV with me as well, and he's been asking what's going on, what's up with the fire, and then today we woke up, the air was okay, and we were like, let's go help. We have to, because we could easily be the next victims.
The overflowing donation center was just one of many relief efforts across the region.
My family and we all came out because we want to give back to our city. We gratefully weren't as affected as far as tangible, things being burned down and things like that. But I think the whole city is affected, whether you've actually had your belongings burnt or not. So, I mean, you can smell the soot in the air, and we were just wanting to get out and do something, like feel active, that we're actually giving back in some way and supporting the community, feeling part of a community. I think that's a big part of it.
And talking about when it all started, during the initial hours when the Eaton fire raged through Altadena early on Wednesday, January 8th, burning thousands of structures, evacuees parked their cars in the parking lot at the Rose Bowl, taking refuge and unsure of what to do next.
I think it's times like this where your neighbor is one of the most important people. This all just started because some people decided that they wanted to help their fellow neighbor out. The government hasn't come in yet to assist, and so this is all just neighbors helping neighbors, which is really, really nice to see, especially like during a time where we're really divided on various issues, and this is something that everybody out here was just like, we want to help our neighbor.
Firefighters continue to race to contain the frontiers of the Los Angeles wildfires that have been burning for several days. Over 20 people have died in what California Governor Gavin Newsom says could be the most devastating natural disaster in U.S. history, one that has destroyed thousands of homes and forced thousands of people to evacuate. Welcome back to the program. We continue in Kenya. Farmers are using artificial intelligence to diagnose diseases in crops. Talk about medical farming. It's an AI app developed by non-profit organization Plant Village. It's offering real-time solutions to crop health challenges.
Roslyn Akochi, a smallholder farmer in western Kenya, scans her cassava crop with a smartphone, using artificial intelligence to instantly diagnose plant diseases and pests. The app, developed by non-profit organization Plant Village, offers real-time solutions to crop health issues, a boon for farmers like Akochi, who have long struggled with identifying disease plants. She has been using the app since 2018.
This phone app has made my work so easy. I don't have to go far or look for someone for advice or use any transport fare. It's just me in the farm with my phone. Normally, I wake up in the morning before the sun is too hot and survey my farm. This I do twice a week. But the phone app now shows me how my plants are doing and how they are growing.
The technology provides resources on sourcing quality seeds, land preparation methods, and access to agricultural specialists. Akochi reports a significant yield increase since adopting the app. The increased income has allowed her to pay for her children's education and build a house.
You cannot compare the difference. Before, an acre would produce only 5 bags of cassava. Most were wilted or diseased. But using the modern technology that I've been using, 1 acre can now produce 200 or even 250 bags.
Experts say Africa requires an annual investment of $77 billion to enhance farming practices, boost yields, and improve agricultural supply chains to address food insecurity. Smallholder farmers like Akochi, who typically work on less than 2-acre farms, produce 80% of food consumed in Africa. Many lack modern farming expertise and resources. Plant Village has been training farmers and testing their AI applications in Busia, an area identified as food insecure.
And seed suppliers, would you like to get advice on how to manage this pest?
49% of the AIs being deployed in Africa are based on agriculture. And the reason why we are focusing on agriculture is because of the increased population and also the challenges that are being brought by climate change. You'll see that there's a lot of pests and diseases that are emerging and are affecting our crops. And we want to make sure that we provide solution. We want to make sure that farmers have access to this solution so that they can increase the yield of their crops for them to be sustainable and food secure.
Many experts believe AI has great potential due to its accessibility, customization, and affordability. However, barriers to technology adoption, such as lack of smartphone access, persist in Africa. Farmers like Akochi are now training others and assisting those without smartphones in their communities.
We're still in Kenya. If you're stressed and overwhelmed, there's a rage room in Nairobi, the capital city, where you can just vent and let it all out. Let's see what that is in this next report.
This is a rage room in Nairobi, Kenya, a place Kenyans are turning to relieve stress and the frustration of everyday life. The Rage Room offers a unique and unconventional therapy experience through a controlled environment to help many vent their anger. Guests dressed in protective suits and helmets have the room to themselves which features a range of household objects like televisions and glass bottles with a baseball bat. The founder explains the idea behind this.
So the healing room is a rage room where people come and get to feel relieved after feeling so overwhelmed, and it's a deviation of the traditional therapy. So this is one of the exposure therapies that we have. So people just come scream. If you want to scream, cry, vent out, break things in a controlled environment, not similar to the traditional therapist where people sit down with a professional therapist. The idea of the rage room came from a conversation we were having with a friend, and the conversation was how traditional therapy was introduced to us Africans. It was introduced in a way where it was directed to the psychotic people. So there is a lot of stigma and discrimination around it.
Visitors expressed their enthusiasm for the method of therapy.
The reason I'd come to the range room is because, depending on the economy, life nowadays, it's somehow hard. So to start my year, I saw it good to come and try this range thing because traditional therapy is expensive, and it's also a good thing to try new things. So for me, I feel relieved. I feel much better than I was before I came here. Yeah, and I'm a happy man, as you can see. I came here not so happy, but now I can afford even to smile. At least I've vented out my anger. Yeah, and I'm very happy for this.
The Rage Room offers a range of packages with prices from 1,500 to 7,500 Kenyan shillings for a 15 to 60 minute session. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has estimated that 25 to 40% of people seeking medical attention in the country are experiencing a mental health condition, underlying the importance of finding a way to engage people in therapies to help relieve their burdens.
And finally on the program, in a bid to showcase South Africa's heritage, mountainous landscapes and cultural diversity, the Limpopo Tourism Agency hosts an exclusive excursion across Limpopo province, highlighting some of the province's hidden gems. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samosa, was part of that journey. Take a look.
Limpopo province rolled out the red carpet for local and international media personalities, offering a first-hand experience of its unique tourism treasures. The Limpopo excursion kicked off in the Sekhukhune district, introducing participants to fascinating attractions such as the Shoe Museum, the Echo Caves, and the historic Bushman Rock Shelter.
And it's my first time visiting the Limpopo province in these parts of the country, and we had an opportunity to go to the Echo Caves, where we learned about the historical background that made us who we are as modern people. And it's amazing that things that were documented is written on the walls, it's written on the caves, how they lived, and it tells a footprint or leaves a footprint of how things were shaped, how their social community was formed, and we can learn a lot from our past in order to shape the future.
The tour then moved to the Mopani district, where visitors explored the renowned Hoedspruit Endangered Species Centers, a hub for wildlife conservation. Vembe district brought history to life with a visit to the Mapungubwe National Park and World Heritage Site. The grand finale, Mapungubwe Arts Festival, was a vibrant celebration. Limpopo Premier Poppy Ramotoba highlights the significance of the Mapungubwe Arts Festival in supporting small and medium enterprises.
For us as a province which is still trying to build its economy, Mapungubwe Festival, we utilize it as another way of promoting tourism. The people who are attending here are not necessarily coming from this area. That is why if you go and look at your lodges, which are affordable, which are owned by a number of SMMEs, they are fully booked, which means they will be able to generate revenue. If you check our restaurants tomorrow, they will be fully booked.
From history to conservation and culture, Limpopo province left an indelible impression on all who attended the media excursion.
And that's the program for today. Remember, our top stories are never far away. You can always catch them on channelstv.com. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.